Hey y'all, welcome to That Tennessee Feeling. Thanks for coming back. I'm sorry it's been a bit of a break. You start something and then life's like, you only thought you were going to do that. Well, that's kind of happened, so that's why the podcast has been on hiatus, but I'm back. We're going to do monthly episodes. We're still going to talk about our favorite volunteer states. I appreciate those of you who've stuck with me. Thank you so much. Thank you for those who have followed the podcast on Spotify. I genuinely appreciate that. And those of you who have reviewed on Apple, that means so much to me. Thank you to those of you who have interacted with the Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter pages. You guys are simply awesome. I'm glad to know that there's a lot of other Tennessee lovers out there. And today I'm actually going to talk about something I love about Tennessee. I'm going to talk about the small towns in Tennessee. Tennessee is full of some really unique and quaint small towns. They have a lot to offer, and a lot of them are unfortunately overlooked. They're good for weekend getaways, day trips, and sometimes they're so good that you just want to move there. It happens. The first town I'm going to talk about is probably one you've heard about, but it's still a small town in Tennessee, and it's called Bell Buckle. Yes, there's a town in Tennessee called Bell Buckle. And unsurprisingly, I'm sure you've heard of Bell Buckle. It's been on a lot of the best small towns and great places to live in Tennessee, especially like live videos on YouTube and people talking about it. And this town's just getting a lot of attention, and for good reason. Bell Buckle is a town in Bedford County, which is in southern Middle Tennessee. And this town honestly only has about 500 people living in it, but it's amazing. Just gorgeous. The entire downtown is actually on the National Register of Historic Places, and it's called the Bell Buckle Historic District, and it is such a great place to go and walk around. Now, the fun thing about Bell Buckle is that nobody actually knows how it really got its name. I mean, you got to have a good story to come up with a town name called Bell Buckle, but nobody knows. One story says that one of the first European traveling through the area found a tree with a carving of a cowbell and a buckle that might have been made by Native Americans in the area, or maybe surveyors. So maybe that's how it got its name, and those carvings were supposed to show that it was good pasture land. Who knows? The other legend about its name origins saw that a bell and a buckle were tied around a tree at a creek. That's another way. Or the other one is that the creek near the town was named Bell Buckle Creek, and the town just took its name from the name of the creek. I am more inclined to believe that one. Doesn't matter though. It's got a cute name and it's a great place to go. Now, the area was settled around in the early 1800s, and it really grew after the railroad came through the area in 1852. And this railroad connected Nashville and Chattanooga, so many more people were coming through this little town. The town even had a railway depot built in 1853, and it became incorporated in 1856. Bell Buckle continued to grow, and it grew after 1870 as it was a major stockyard between Nashville and Chattanooga, and eventually even grew to have more than 1,000 people call it home. Now, the town remained on the map, but it didn't grow much after the 1900s, and especially after the trains stopped becoming the main source of transportation. The town was used for a while as an area for Army maneuvers in the 1940s, and a tank of General Patton's 2nd Armored Division actually ran into the 2-story town hall building during these maneuvers. And yes, it brought the building down completely. So at least it's got a good story. Now, the town is known for much more than just its history. It's known for many of its preserved and restored Victorian homes, shops, and churches located in its historic downtown area. Bell Buckle is also famously known for its antiques, arts, and crafts. It is also home to RC Cola and Moon Pie festivals and the Webb School Arts and Crafts Fair Festival. I am a huge fan of the RC Cola and Moon Pie Festival. You do not understand what Southern goodness is until you've had an RC Cola and a chocolate moon pie. It is just a thing. You've got to trust me. If you haven't tried it, you must go try it. The town is also home to the Webb School, which is a college prep boarding school and a day school that moved into the town in 1886. The school has added life and ambience to the town, and with all of its small shops, it's not surprising that this town was named one of the South's best small towns in 2021 by Southern Living. I love going to Bell Buckle. I love going to look at the shops, the antiques, and just taking this small town feel. There's a lot of stuff to do there. There's a lot of stuff to see. It's really, really fun. And it's just definitely a place you need to go and check out, especially the moon pies. I'm telling y'all, you gotta try one. It's a Tennessee tradition. Now, the next town I want to talk about is Rogersville. Rogersville is basically completely opposite of Bell Buckle. It is in the top east corner of the state. It is in Hawkins County, and it is right next to the Kentucky state line. And let me tell you, this town is an old one with a lot of history. Rogersville was actually settled in 1775 by Davy Crockett's grandparents. Now, the town was named for its founder, Joseph Rogers. And the town is home to the second oldest courthouse in Tennessee, as well as the first newspaper, the Knoxville Gazette, and the first post office are all in this quaint little town. The Rogersville Historic District is on the National Register of Historic Places, and Rogersville is part of the Kingston-Bristol metro area, or the Tri-Cities area. It's a really quaint place. Nothing is too far from each other in this area, and you've just got to go visit. It's full of old Tennessee history, including really U.S. history. Now, the town was settled, like I said, in 1775 by the grandparents of Davy Crockett when they came to the area. They settled in the Watauga Colony, or what is today Rogersville. The area was nice, but there was a lot of tension with the Native Americans, and after attack and massacre in the area, the Crockett sold the property to a Huguenot named Colonel Thomas Ames and left. They wanted a bit quieter place, not so much fighting. Now, Ames loved the area, so he built a fort at Big Creek, which is on the outskirts of present-day Rogersville. And then he built himself a stone house, complete with defenses from any Native American attacks. He was determined to live on this land, to hold this land, to use this land, and to love living there. Now, Ames had help from John Carter, who was a Scot-Irish settler who helped build improvements to the town. And Ames eventually opened a grocery store, a blacksmith shop, a sawmill, a gristmill, and even built a distillery. They also said that there was a house of entertainment. I'm thinking kind of like a saloon, but you can read between the lines there. Now, of course, this area was still in kind of confusion as to, is it Tennessee? Is it North Carolina? What's going on? Well, the best part is in 1785, the state of Franklin organized Spencer County, which is present-day Hawkins County today, and they declared a new government in this state. This was an entirely new state, the state of Franklin. It wasn't Tennessee, it wasn't North Carolina, it was the state of Franklin. And its seat was present-day Rogersville. And this state lasted a bit until 1786 when North Carolina basically contended with the state of Franklin over the control of the area, and North Carolina actually passed an act that created Hawkins County, which basically said that this is North Carolina, not Franklin. Sorry, this is our land now. And when they did, they made the new county seat Rogersville, and that was the property of Joseph Rogers. Now, Joseph Rogers was an Irish settler that came to the area in 1785, and he met the Amos family, and he fell in love with Mary Amos. And they got married in 1786, and the couple were given lands near the Crockett Springs, which is the same lands that Amos had purchased from the Crocketts upon his arrival to the area. Rogers was one who lobbied to have the new Hawkins County seat in his town, and he even let them use his tavern as the first county courthouse. And that was established in 1878. Now, Rogers and the other town settlers laid out a plan for the town, and the town of Rogersville was officially chartered by the North Carolina Assembly in 1789. The plan included a public square that had a town well and a courthouse that people could use. Rogers would also go on to become the first postmaster of Rogersville in 1792, and the town's second post office was even built by him in 1815, and it still stands on the corner of Main and Hasson Street today. Another fun piece of history. Fun fact though, Rogersville is not only the site of a lost state, it is also the home to a lot of journalism. George Rulstone was Tennessee's first printer, and he settled in Rogersville. He even printed Tennessee's first newspaper in 1791, later called the Knoxville Gazette in 1792. And the newspaper, of course called Knoxville, did eventually move to Knoxville. And Rogersville didn't have another newspaper published for a good 15 years till 1813, when John Hood began to publish the East Tennessee Gazette out of Rogersville. And the town actually eventually had 3 newspapers. and even a specialty publication like Railroad Advocate, the Calvinistic newspaper, and Holston Watchman. So this town is definitely home to a lot of journalism. They appreciate their news and journalism and their, creativity. Now, the town today is a quaint downtown with shops, restaurants, and some amazing historic inns. It's also home to Heritage Days, which is held on the second weekend of October, and it's an arts and crafts festival. The town also is home to 3 parks that are a great place to spend some outdoor time. The Rogersville City Park has playgrounds, basketball courts, tennis courts, picnic areas, a trail, an amphitheater, and a duck pond for you to enjoy some nice spring or summer days. Maybe not right now with all this rain, but, when it dries out, definitely go check out that park. The Crockett Spring Park is the site of the town's first settlement and the tavern owned by Joseph Rogers. They are preserved on this site. You can also see the cemetery where the Rogers are buried. So that's a fun piece of Tennessee history. Swift Memorial Park is also in the town limits. The park remembers Swift College, which was an African-American college in the late 1800s. The park remembers this fine institution, and you can find a lot of history in this small town. You can visit these shops, you can see historic buildings, you can visit the cemeteries that help keep the towns alive. There is an amazing little inn that I definitely recommend going. It's the Hale Springs Inn. I stayed once. I think that it's Hale Springs Inn. Yeah, it's amazing. It's not expensive. They have amazing old furniture and antiques, and it's got a restaurant, and it's just a great place to stay and really learn about the town and enjoy visiting. Rogersville is kind of like that perfect little weekend getaway. I do recommend going spring, summer, or fall, as it does get cold up in the corner of Tennessee. The next place I like is Suwanee. Suwanee sits in Franklin County, which is in southeast middle Tennessee, almost East Tennessee, kind of on that line. The town lies on the western edge of the Cumberland Plateau, and the town is really close to Mount Eagle, which is on Mount Eagle Mountain. This town isn't really big, but it is home to something really cool. It's home to the University of the South. The University of the South was founded and owned by the Southern Diocese of the Episcopal Church, and it's usually just known as Suwanee. The university was founded in 1866, so it's got a long history, and it is a private liberal arts college. The school is steeped in tradition and in religion, and it sits on almost 13,000 acres around the town of Suwanee. I'm not saying it makes up the town, but it kind of does make up the town. Suwanee is a small one. It's more of a college town at this point than anything, but the views from this town are just amazing. The town is home to a few trails that let you wander through the mountains or see some beautiful waterfalls. It's also home to some great local eats, but in reality, it is built around the University of the South. I mean, this small town is definitely worth taking a day trip to see the beautiful buildings that make up this college town, hike those trails, see those views, or just take in Tennessee from the tops of its mountains. It's definitely a place worth checking out, maybe on the way to Chattanooga. The next small town is in Lewis County, and it's Hohenwald. Yes, I said that right, Hohenwald. The name is actually German for high forest. The county got its name because Meriwether Lewis of the Lewis and Clark expedition died and was buried about 7 miles east of the town at Grinder's Stand, which became Lewis County. Now, Hohenwald was founded in 1878 and later merged with the town of New Switzerland, which was just south of where current Hohenwald is today. The town's a quiet one with some very interesting history. It is also home to the third largest trophy mount collection in North America. I didn't even know that existed until I started doing this research, but it is a thing and you can go visit it. The collection is housed in the Lewis County Museum of Local and Natural History in downtown Hohenwald. The town is also home to something really cool. It is home to an elephant sanctuary, the largest natural habitat elephant sanctuary in the United States. And I think that's really cool. The elephant sanctuary has been in the area and called the area home since 1995, when Carol Buckley bought the property and built a barn for her retired elephant Tara. The elephant sanctuary was established shortly after, and the sanctuary became a nonprofit and continues to grow. It is now home to 11 elephants. Unfortunately, the sanctuary is not open to the public, which I think is kind of cool because it lets the elephants have a place to live out their days roaming, enjoying warm barns in the cooler months, giving them the freedom to just be elephants again without people gawking. And it's really cool because it educates people about elephants. You can't see the elephants, but you can visit their center on Saturdays from 9 to 4 to learn about these magnificent creatures. They also have live streaming cams that show you the elephants as they go about their daily lives. It's really cool. I definitely think you should check out the live cams if you can't make it to Hohenwald. And I think it's cool because the sanctuary doesn't want to put animals on display, and that's why they don't let them see these people. These animals have been retired, probably from circuses, and, they've probably done enough. They deserve their freedom, just enjoy their warm barns, and just be elephants. I think it's really cool that there is this random amazing elephant sanctuary in Tennessee. Now, Hohenwald is also known as a transition town. A transition town is a town that is growing to become self-sufficient to reduce climate destruction, minimize oil use, and grow food in the community gardens. They also work on eliminating waste and focus on recycling. Really, the town is just working to create a better place for people to live. I think that's amazing, for one. I think it's really cool that they're focusing on being sustainable without using, overuse in water, waste, and things like that. Now, Hohenwald does have a small downtown area with some great local places to eat. They have a theater and even some shops. It's a fun place to stop in for the day and explore. Go on a Saturday and you can learn about the elephants, or you can learn about eco-friendly living. This is just another small town that's happy to call Tennessee home. Thank you for listening today, guys. I hope that you found some new places in Tennessee that you can explore, maybe even future homes. Thanks again for following the podcast. I really appreciate you supporting me through this. I am back. It is a monthly podcast now. Maybe eventually we can go back to doing every 2 weeks. But as everybody knows, you make plans and life laughs at you. So don't forget to check out all the Instagrams and all the TikToks and all the Facebook things. I do like to share things from around the state on the Facebook, especially only in your state. There's some cool stuff about Tennessee. I have fun sharing driving down back roads or even my favorite recipes on TikTok. You might even see my cats getting in the way. It's a thing. It happens. I really would appreciate if you haven't given the podcast a review on Apple or Spotify. Please give it 5 stars. It lets people see that the podcast is there, and it gives them a new topic to listen to, and especially more to learn about Tennessee. I hope y'all have an amazing week. I'll see you in a month, and don't forget to stay country.